So, public service warning kind of thing. At some point, you're going to get to a quest line here in uh, not what is that, seven? In seven, where you're doing time to face justice, and you end up having to play as this guy. This is the first time you're playing as him, so it's a bit of a spoiler, I guess. But you meet him ahead of this. Anyway, I think it's been pretty well established that there's three characters in the game. But the first time you have to fight or play this guy, he comes in with fuck all. Like he has this gear. Um, not this. He didn't have the earring, not that it did anything. It was the only thing I had in my inventory. He's got this axe, which is not good. It's okay, but it's not it's got no abilities, it's got no nothing, right? You got this orc blaster, which did what seemed to be absolutely no damage. Um, I don't know. It certainly wasn't. Maybe it was building up the stun, but it sure didn't seem to have any impact. You know, uh, like just everything's refined to level four, which is better than nothing, I guess, but it is not. It's not good. So you have some choices. You probably find some weapons on your way to this quest that during your journeys and stuff that aren't for Cliff. They don't fit on Cliff, but it's like a double broad axe or whatever. I would suggest before you start this quest line, and again, it's um, the one called Time to Face Justice, right? You make sure that you put some gear on this guy, maybe just a weapon if nothing else. The other thing is he didn't have a helmet, and if you could put on something like this, which has a days immunity and defense five, so I had it in my inventory, even though because I wasn't expecting to have to play this guy, um, and so I put it on, and then I left it on him, and he takes it with you. I also had this necklace sitting in my inventory, so I put that on him. And after you're done this quest, he disappears again, and I don't know when I get him back. So in my actual save, I reloaded a older one here. I don't think I'll redo all the cutscenes just for these two items, but I don't have these items anymore in my inventory because they just steal them. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I would. He's a two-headed axe guy, so I wouldn't mess around. I tried to put other weapons on him, and it just didn't seem to work very well. So anyway, maybe there's other weapons you found. I found a horseshoe axe. I think it's in my bag. That's probably for him. It's not usable by Cliff, but it's got a bunch of slots for abyss gears or beers. So anyway, I'm just saying. I would build up a weapon a little bit. And the other thing that happened was I went through food. I happen to have a lot of food on me most of the time, but I had, I think, 60 of these clear soups. And yeah, the fight is hard. It stun locks you, and I'll leave it at that. Um, the other thing you could think about doing is putting some gear on that gives you electricity protection. Um, but I'll leave it at that without getting too much into the spoilers. It's just pretty. I don't appreciate it when devs do this kind of thing. If I didn't have food on me, it would have been a nightmare. Um, there are some spots where I guess you could probably travel back to your camp and even go hunting and get food made if you needed to, I suppose. But um, that's that's just pretty much yeah, if you don't know, you don't know, right? So I happen to have food on me. So anyway, public service announcement. You should probably have lots of food on you. I used at least 40, um, probably 50 soups. And and yeah, I just basically had to spam food through it because my damage was dog shit. This guy just doesn't have anything built into him. None of his gear is imprinted in any way, shape, or form, right? So, like, you would think they would put something at this point in the game. They would put something on this character, just even give him, I don't know, some ability so that his abilities are not just boring. But yeah, no, he's pretty boring to play right out of the gate. And yeah, my theory is when they were making this an MMO, that each of these areas was meant to be like a starting zone for one of the starting characters. This guy, Cliff, or the girl, and I'm guessing that that's how it morphed. And so there's a lot of remnants that feel like you're doing tutorials hours, like 100 hours into the game, start doing tutorials again, and it's like because you're on this guy, and it's like, oh, okay, so you guys just changed it so that Anyway, it's half-assed. It's half-assed implementation, and it feels like it. Um, and I really dislike it when devs take away your main character, force you to play something that's undercooked, and then throw a really, I don't know. I mean, it's not an impossible fight, but if I didn't have food, I don't know how somebody would do it. You would have to reload an old save and go get food. Um, I just don't feel like there's any other way. Maybe, but it doesn't feel like it's one of those fights where you can block stuff and just succeed by good timing. And it just feels stun lock and spammy, and your dodge and roll and shuffle is just not enough. And so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some Uber guy out there that could do it naked. I'm sure there is, but the average player, it's a tough fight, and it's mostly tough because they nerf you to the ground with a unprepared character. Yeah, I don't know. It's just heavy-handed. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.